What's up, everybody? Hang on, let me turn down the music. There we go. How's it going? Hi. Welcome back for another regular stream. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. Things that we need to do. Here's our strategy for today. Last week, we were talking about D&D therapy, right? We were talking about how Dungeons and Dragons can be used in a therapeutic context successfully, right? We were having a lot of conversation about that. So we were talking about how it can be useful because for people who have social anxiety, people who have confidence issues, people who want to get better at communication or teamwork, people who may have depression, anxiety, people who are neurodivergent, all that stuff, right? What we're going to be doing today, though, is a little bit different. We're not going to be talking about that necessarily. Instead, we're going to be working on creating the actual world together that then I will hopefully be able to use with other YouTube creators to run a one-shot. And that one-shot, by one-shot I mean a session that'll take about 2 to 3 hours, hopefully, where we can have a complete story. And it'll play out in a way that would be similar to what you might see in a like D&D therapy session, right? But it'll be a mock session, not a real thing. So the work that we have to do today is we have to build up that world, and that's where you guys come in. Hello, Ghost. Hello, Small Round L. Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear last week? That's okay. You can, if you want to catch the stream, if you want to like look at the VOD, you can find that on my Twitch account, where I'm also live streaming right now too, if you use Twitch. So you can go back and look at that. It was a really fun stream. We were just chatting a lot about Dungeons and Dragons, chatting a lot about how it can be used in therapy, people's experiences, all that stuff. I was talking about how I did this a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I guess now, pre-pandemic. I ran a D&D therapy session that was only about 8 weeks long, which was successful, but it was tough. It was hard to like contain everything in that short amount of time because sessions were only about an hour long. Hey, Jeffrey, good to see you. Look at him. He's using his emotes that are only exclusive to Twitch. I don't really care if you watch me on Twitch or YouTube. It feels like I'm pushing you over to Twitch. But it doesn't matter. Everybody's over on YouTube right now, but the only benefit to doing Twitch is if I can get enough people to hang out with me over there, then I can be like a partner eventually. But that's a long ways off. We'd need a huge influx. So we're not, it'll happen organically and naturally. Anyway, today we're gonna hop into the creation process. So I was saying this last week, I'm gonna be doing something of a collaboration or a sponsorship with World Anvil, which I've never used before. But they are a website that's used for kind of like wikis and storing information about characters and all that stuff. So the goal is to use their website, get familiar with it, actually know what I'm talking about, and then use this for the actual gameplay later on too, which will be kind of fun. I'm always looking for stuff like this. I don't know about you guys. I've used a few different websites none of them quite serve the same purpose. So I was talking last week, I've used Roll20 in the past for actual gameplay, because they have a camera, like an audio video component, which can be useful. So Jeffrey, I don't have full access. So here's the deal with, so Jeffrey's asking if I have access to World Anvil. I created a free account, and that will give me access to some of their features, and we can do enough with that for right now. I was given like a code that I can use to get full access to their like highest tier, but since it's like for the purpose of doing a sponsorship, they limit it. So this video isn't going to come out until February, and it's a 30-day trial. I might end up buying it afterwards anyway if I really like it, which will you'll get the full analysis as we're going through this. But I'd rather hold on to that full access until later on, so that when I'm editing the video, I can get like screenshots and video capture and all that stuff when I need to. World Anvil gives lots of prompts that are nice when thoughts are slow. Oh, that's great. I was wondering that. It seems like their community is really awesome. I joined their Discord, which it seems like really supportive. It seems like the founders are really cool. I've been watching a lot of their like YouTube videos. They just seem to have a really pleasant, kind presence online. So I'm pretty impressed with them so far. Yeah, free tier, definitely place to start. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I feel like I got distracted from something else before though. No, I don't know. We're gonna be doing this. We're gonna be going through creating the world, all that jazz, and I'm gonna be looking for suggestions, advice, ideas, stuff that you guys can just throw out there. Don't worry about if it's a good idea or a bad idea. There are no bad ideas, as they say, right? Oh, that's not what I wanted. I've been looking up information about like how to write one-shots, because I've never written one myself, but I'd like to do that for this. It seems like the main idea is just to keep it very brief, which makes sense. If you've only got, keep it simple, really simple. You've only got like a few hours to go through an entire campaign. That makes a lot of sense. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna put up a social media post that I realized I forgot to do. One second. Okay. Okay. That's done. Cool. Oh, let's do one other thing real quick. Sorry, guys. I know this is like the boring part. Okay. So we're going to be creating the world. We've got our home page here. I created a free account. It seems like they do have these sort of like tools to help you with creating the world itself. You can see that it even says like your progress so far. And I haven't done anything. So you're going to be seeing my genuine reaction to this stuff as we're going through it. Okay, 1 second. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. What do you think? Having done one shot, my biggest thing was to limit it to 3 encounters. 1 social encounter or combat if it goes poorly, 1 environmental challenge, and 1 actual combat. You are reading my mind, Jeffrey. That's the kind of stuff that I want to hear. That's the kind of stuff that's going to be really helpful as we're building this stuff. I've done a little bit of thinking, but it's tips like that we're looking for. All right. So what do you think? We hop right into it, huh? Let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So get world building. Create a new world. Okay, this is the hardest part. We need to come up with a name for our world. Maybe it can be, I guess it says you can change it later. So if we come up with something better later on, we can always do that. I'm looking for a name, something that might be a play on words with therapy or something like that. Any suggestions? Micah's World. All right, that's top right now. That's the best one we've got. Yeah, bad ideas first. All right, Micah's World is the worst idea. That is the name of the world currently. Any other ideas? We could do like something with emotion, like emotionopia. Also a bad idea. We could do or like Freudland. All right, that's top now. Thank you, Allie. Allie's in the chat if you want to say hi. Freudland. It's pretty good so far. I'll put what about like I was gonna say dissonant dystopia, serotonia. I like that too. I'm just gonna put up some ideas. Serotonia. Penn Island. Egoidland. Got ego and id in there. Land. Super egoid land. How about that? Super egoid land. Sometimes a pen is just a pen. It's true. Ooh, what if, yeah, you could do something with cigar. Cigarro. World of fractured connections. World of... That's a little bit long. Sorry, Jeffrey, I'll put back Micah's World. We're putting up just all the ideas right now. How about how about Ohio. Love it, love it. Yeah, if you're just joining, we're trying to come up with a name for my world. These are just the ideas that how about I'm really struggling here. Dystopia. Skygopolis. Skinner Island. That sounds creepy. That sounds real scary. Skinner Island. You're on the you're on with the psychologist here. Skinner Island, you got Freudland. Thonk Master 3000. Okay. How about well, okay. Our story is going to, I've already decided this aspect. Our story is going to involve a mind flare. So it could play off of that as well. You know, it'd be kind of cool is if in this world everyone was like able to read thoughts. That'd be interesting. Anyway, I guess that kind of downplays the abilities of the mind flare then, though. All right. I'll tell you what, keep putting ideas. We're gonna whittle this down. So I'm gonna remove some that I think are not clear winners. We'll take off Micah's World. Sorry. We'll take off World of Fractured Connections. It's a little long. I'll take off Thonk Master. Not that I don't appreciate it. Psychopolis feels a little obvious. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 7 options. I'll take off Skinner Island. I don't know if that fits exactly. Take off Cigarro. All right. We've got 5 options so far. Are any really popping out to you that you're like, yes, I love that? We got Freudland, Serotonia, Super Egoid Land. It also can just be Egoid Land. It doesn't have to be super. Ohio, and Dystopia. I don't know about Dystopia. I'm gonna take that one off. Feelings. Let's just let's do 1 through 4. Or you know, I'll do poll. Let's do this. Oop. All right, I'm just gonna start off with those options. Maybe mix 2 together. Could mix 2 together. Like Serotonia. You like Serotonia? Serotohio. The Land of Feelings. Land of Feelings. I like Serotonia a lot too, actually. I think that's a pretty good winner. Maybe it's a place where everybody feels good. Or something. I don't know. Wow, Serotonia is like the clear winner here so far. All right, I'm calling it. Serotonia it is. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. It sounds magical. It does. All right, Serotonia is the name of our world. Now we have to write what our world is about. We want 3 to 5 evocative paragraphs, oh boy, describing our world, a teaser of what's to come for your readers, and your initial inspiration. So to a certain degree, we have to describe what Serotonia is going to be like, what kind of a world it is. I might also, this might be a good place to start to develop what the story is going to involve or entail, what the major conflict is, and that might help with describing our world as well. We already know what RPG system we're going to be using. We'll be using 5E. Okay. It sounds like everyone is on meds. Maybe they are. Maybe that's part of the world. No, I don't want that. Let's make it. Okay, well let's jump over to these notes. We'll come back to this, talking about the world, because I think this is kind of a big decision. So let me return to this, and we're gonna hop over to this sheet that I have that we'll use to do some brainstorming. This is fun stuff. So the first thing that we need to figure out is the story. Essentially, the main like driving force. When I was looking up stuff about writing a one-shot, I actually watched a video by one of the co-founders of World Anvil. I don't remember what her name is. And she gave what I thought was a really great like template to follow, which is, for a one-shot, someone wants to do something before a time, but they can't do it using some method because reasons. So the someone is the villain. They want to do something, which would be some like evil action, right? As an example, before a time, there's some sort of like ticking time bomb. There's something that's propelling the players forward. That's what like limits it to the one shot. But the villain can't do it using some typical method because there's something getting in the way, right? And so maybe they have to find an alternative way to accomplish the same issue, the same goal, right? So we know who the someone is. We know that the someone is the mind flayer. So a mind flayer is the main. Oh, thanks. I'm glad that you like the music. It sort of makes sense with your username, SMWS Music, that you would enjoy the music. So we know that the mind flayer is the main bad guy. They want to do something. They want to accomplish some goal. Jeffrey, you said that mind flayer is regulating everyone's emotions. So that could be the impetus, right? Is maybe in Serotonia, everyone's it's sort of I want to be careful because I don't want to get too deep into this being some like allegory for like psychotropic medications, because I think that could be harmful, right? But I guess like the idea could be that maybe, it could go the opposite direction, that the mind flayer, like let's say like Serotonia used to be this happy place where everyone got along and it was like a wonderful place to live until the mind flayer arrived and took over the town's minds, and they want to, and it became like this horrible place where everyone was being essentially tortured or something along those lines, right? Being controlled until something happens that affects the Mind Flayer's ability to do that. And so the players end up realizing what's going on and are trying to stop the Mind Flayer from regaining the ability to take control of everyone's minds again, let's say, within a certain time limit. Like maybe the Mind Flayer is trying to get someplace, or maybe it's linked to some event, some like astronomical event or something like that. It's kind of tricky to navigate a world whose name is Serotonia without any adventure seeming like an allegory. Yeah, I think we could take this direction though. Like maybe Serotonia used to be happy, and then it became, why would the Mind Flayer want to control people? Maybe Serotonia, maybe the Mind Flayer is almost farming people for their happiness, right? Mind Flayer, by taking control of their minds, is doing almost like a displacement where the Mind Flayer is like absorbing all of the good feels from everybody else, and is replacing, their thoughts or their feelings with his own. It doesn't have to be he. And stops any other feelings. Ooh, yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah. Stops feelings. So then they're kind of like zombies. So then the story could open up with the players, the player characters, the people who are actually playing the game. It could start with them waking up, right? Coming to after being mind controlled for who knows how long. And for one reason or another, they are aware of what the Mind Flayer has been doing, right? Maybe they have some vision or something along those lines that they all share, or something like that. That would. Oh, thanks for the follow. That would help them like band together. We could come up with the backstory of like how that happens. I don't think that would be too difficult. Surface expression of happiness to appease Mind Flayer versus full palette of emotions. To appease Mind Flayer versus... Yeah, I think I love this idea of Serotonia almost being like a utopia. Not in a creepy way, but just like it's like the Shire, right? Everyone is just having a great time, and then the Mind Flayer comes, takes over everyone's minds in order to try to fulfill some inner need for happiness, and then that gets disrupted for some reason, and now the Mind Flayer has to get it back, and the players have to try to stop him before they become zombies again, essentially. What do you think? Does that sound good? So the Mind Flayer wants to control the minds of of the citizens of Serotonia in order to suck their happiness before a time, but they can't do it using there's something that would have disrupted them, right? Oh, you want to zoom in? Oh, sorry. Here, let me do this. Boom. How's that? Is that better? So, a mind flayer wants to control the minds of the citizens of Serotonia in order to suck their happiness before some time point, right? Let's say before the next day, because something is going to happen the next day. But they can't do it. They can't suck the happiness of the citizens right now using their typical methods because something happened. Ideas, thoughts, emotions. Much better. Good. Dreams. What do you mean, Eric? What do you mean by dreams? They can't control the minds of the citizens because of dreams? If the mind flayer is taking their happiness, does that mean people don't feel happiness, or they are trying to farm it? Yes. If the mind flayer is taking their happiness, then that means that people don't feel happiness. And maybe there's something like almost inherent. Like, I think you could make make it part of the story that like the people of Serotonia are just sort of inherently happy, or like are good folk, and so the mind flayer, by maintaining control of their minds, can absorb that feeling. Either they can't control the citizens through their dreams, or they can't control the citizens because their dreams keep shaking them out of it. Interesting. Interesting. So once they get mind controlled, the only way to get out of mind control is by dreaming. How can they dream when they're being mind controlled? Oh, okay. This maybe brings up an idea. Okay, maybe there's an alignment of stars or celestial bodies that the mind flayer draws power from. The heroes must win before that. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of like, ticking time bomb thing that we were looking for. Let me I realize that chat's kind of hard to see. Let's see if there's a way to put something behind it. One moment. There should be something on here that just says like black box. I can pick a picture. Oh, no. Delete. Not gonna do that. Here, I'll tell you what. We're gonna do this. Yeah, I don't mind the idea of there being some celestial moment. I like the idea of dreams. I'm trying to think how to incorporate that into like into the story in a way that makes it like a function of the gameplay. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of distracted. I'm just pulling up like something that'll help. Oh, nope, don't do that. What is that? No. Take that, move it here. Do this. Isn't this interesting? Okay. There. Okay. So a mind flayer wants to control the minds of the citizens of Serotonia in order to suck their happiness. Before, let's just put in something for right now. Before, I don't know if we need necessarily like, we might need to reorganize how this is, like this sentence exactly, but we'll get the idea. Suck their happiness, using the power of the equinox. Right? So there's a date, essentially. I just picked the equinox. We can pick whatever we want. But they can't do it using limited time and one shots likely would need to open with a dream sequence and or end with one rather than it being a recurrent mechanic. Yeah, I agree. I think well, you could say, okay, here's a thought about how dreams can be involved with this. The mind flayer is able to control people's minds and you know, suck their happiness, but he has yet to figure out how to prevent these people from falling asleep, because even though they're being mind controlled, their biology might still make them pass out, right? So maybe the people who end up being part of the party wake up after passing out and see everybody else being mind controlled and somehow realize that the mind flayer is trying to find a way to make it so that people don't have to sleep. Something like that. Which then would kill the entire town because, you know, you need sleep to live. Pick the solstice because solstice is an extreme, whereas the equinox is the stable middle. Good to know. Okay, it's the solstice now. Everyone is an NPC except me. So they can't do it using their normal mind control because the mind controlled need to sleep, and when they fall asleep, the mind flayer no longer has a hold on their mind. So the mind flayer is trying to maybe instead of the solstice, you know, it's maybe some like object that they're trying to obtain that is known for like almost like for energy, right? When you have this particular object, you don't need to sleep. Something along those lines. What do you guys think? Ideas? What should we name this object? The Wand of Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking is kind of interesting. How are people put under mind control? Well, the Mind Flayer has a natural ability or power to have like an area of effect. Like spell, I guess, where they can put people under mind control. Hey, thanks for the follow, Small Roundel. So this is something that's inherent. Hey, Crafty, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Could the object be a tome that is currently in its 5th edition, consulted by the High Council of Liches? Yes. Maybe some wizards. Maybe they live on a coast by the water. I don't know. Something like that. It could be. Yeah, I think it should be an object that prevents feeling tired. So it could be a wand, it could be a tome, it could be maybe something that is like something that is known within the culture of this like town that the Mind Flayer has taken over. So maybe people are familiar with it. We just need a name for it. What do you think about the DSM? The goblet of hot caffeinated bean juice. Yeah, you guys are both on the coffee route. That makes sense. Could be yeah, a brown liquid. It could be a white powder. The resistant villagers have guinea pigs? What do you mean by that, Johan? The resistant villagers have guinea pigs. Oh no. Or what else keeps you from sleeping? Like a 5-hour energy. I don't mind this idea. What keeps me from sleeping? Children. Yes, exactly. Definitely children. The Innis who resist the Mind Flayer have little friends. Oh, I get ya. Noise? It could be something that makes noise. That would be interesting, actually, because then it would have a sort of like detrimental effect of the ones, yeah. It could have a detrimental effect on the people who experience it if it's noise. I guess caffeine would be the same thing too, right? If you just like run yourself ragged. How does Christian Bale's character in The Machinist stay awake? He smokes cigarettes, I guess, and does some other stuff. Okay, so I like the idea of it being a liquid. Part of the issue with the liquid is it's something that the Mind Flayer, maybe they could consume it. The Mind Flayer could consume it. But part of what I'm thinking is it's something that the Mind Flayer would then be able to broadcast to the rest of the citizens. I like the noise idea. It could be, yeah, it could be just like a buzzing something or other. Crystal amplifier. Yeah, an amplifier that that amplifies their power. Right, I was thinking about that too. something that might amplify it to just like solidify their power or even expand their power. Maybe it like takes over the world then, something along those lines. Is the town well poisoned with caffeine? Maybe the rivers are just straight caffeine. That'd be kind of funny, actually. Okay, let's just pick something so you can move on. I'm gonna say the crystal of something about noise. Noise synonym. Din. Pandemonium. Clangor. Clatter. Noise that people don't consciously hear but makes them wakeful. Yeah. The noise of, or the crystal of a constant racket. Crystal of clangor. Yeah, I like crystal of clangor. That's kind of nice. It's got a nice clang to it. Yeah, I like that. Continuous loud banging or ringing sound. All right, we're going with that. Crystal of clangor. Let's capitalize it. Proper noun. But they can't do it using... Okay. A mind flayer wants to control the minds of the citizens of Serotonia in order to suck their happiness. Using their powerful mind control abilities. But they can't do it using their normal mind control because the mind control need to sleep the mind controlled eventually fall asleep from exhaustion. And after falling asleep, Mind Flayer no longer has a hold on their minds. Okay, great. So the Mind Flayer is trying to find the Crystal of Clangor to keep the citizens of Serotonia awake forever until they die. Also, the crystal amplifies their power. Okay, great. Good. Now I want to make a character named Crystal of Clangor. I like that, yeah. Hi, my name's Crystal. I'm from Clangor. Okay, that seems like a pretty good setup. Now, the one factor that maybe we're missing is the time limit, but I think the time restricting factor is that at the start, the PCs, the player characters, will have a vision slash dream. Let's just say it's a dream, where they see the Mind Flayer's plan to obtain the crystal. And realize they need to stop them. Okay, great. That's it. That's the setup. All right. We've got it. And let's say the crystal isn't that far away. Well, I can make it the whole idea for the crystal and sort of the backstory for that. All right, next fun part. NPCs. I don't know how many NPCs we'll end up actually using. We have a few that we know we'll probably need. The quest giver, I'm realizing, will be actually the dream. But it could be, we could also have an actual NPC who reinforces the quest. So anyway, before we even come up with names for the specific characters. I just want your best NPC name ideas. I also want your worst NPC name ideas. So just throw them out. They don't have to be clever. They don't have to be, okay, we already got one. Mike Roglia. Is that somebody that I don't know? Is this some kind of joke? Now I have to, no, it is not. Wait. Say it fast. Microglia. I love it. I love it. I love it. Vivian Vivance. All right, I'm noticing a theme. Vivian Vivance. Love it. Love it. Viv. What other names you got? What other NPCs? Let me think about it. If it's all about mind control, doesn't have to be smart or anything. I know the puns are excellent. Hello, sorcerer in a sweater. Nice to see you. We could do let's just come up with dumb names. How about Chuck? Chuck. Slayer. There. Snowdatan. It's Snowdatan. Rob Rockley. Amy G. Dalla. Oh my God. Peter, you're on a roll. Lizzie Limbic. I don't know why the YouTube chat is like slightly delayed. The Twitch chat is like on point. Philip Flop. Philip. You want 2 L's? Yeah. Philip Flop. Keep them coming. NPC names. If you're joining just now, we need NPC names. Alexei Thymia. It's YouTube. I don't know what else you're expecting. Yeah, that's fair. I know. YouTube can be a little, they're not built on the foundation of live streaming. But they do a decent job. Let's think of some other names. All right. Well, then, tell you what. Keep them coming. All names are welcome. Let's go to the Mind Flayer. We need a name for the Mind Flayer. It needs to sound evil. I guess it could be funny, but generally I would think, maybe something a little evil. They are all about mind control. They're all about power. They're trying to suck happiness out of people. So let's think about names that might fit that bill. Like, it can even be a name that has a title attached to it, like Vlad the Impaler kind of thing. Tricyclic and SSRI. Tim. I don't know if I want to make him a medication, but I'll put those down here. It'll be tricyclic, but I get it. Tricyclic. SSRI. Please stop. I'm giggling. Oh no. How will you survive? Yeah, so okay, so we've got a lot of good names thus far. Antagonist is hard. Be something even like puppet related, you know, that kind of like sticks out to me. Like Geppetto. John Malkovich. Ooh, Malkovich is kind of a fun, I don't know, it has sort of an evil twang to it. Let's do name ideas. Malkovo or something like that. The Dynorphin, like as like sort of playing on like endorphins. Dysmorphin. It's morphin time. Dysphoria. Yeah, dysphoria. I was thinking something with dys as well. Like dys or you know, one of those prefixes. You could even, like, the title could just be like the Disruptor or something like that. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. Like I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's look up depression synonyms. Melancholy, sorrow, woe, gloom, dejection, despondency, slump. Yeah. Paralysis, stagnation. Melancholy kind of has a fun. The neuromancer. Put that in there. The neuromancer. Malcolo. How about that? Malcolo. Like melancholy, mal sort of being like bad. You know, when you don't have emotion, then you're dysphoric. Dysphoria. Peter, you already brought up. Let's look up a synonym for that. Dysphoria. Unhappiness. Funk. Funk would be a kind of a fun name. Mope. Funk. Mope. Euphagous might mean happiness eater in Greek. Really? Really? Euphagous. I like that. Euphagous. Maybe. Let's look it up. Euphagous. It's a bird. Euphagous meaning. Wouldn't you be good? EU isn't, when that's at the start, doesn't that mean good? But I bet dysphagus. Eudaimonia. Oh, I see. So phagus. I'm glad you think so. Take, or is it take? You can make suggestions. They don't have to be smart. Phagus, meaning eater. Happiness in Greek. Okay. Yeah, eudaimonia. So I like Euphagous as a name. I might actually just call that. I think Euphagous is, even if it's not a correct Greek interpretation, we're not going for accuracy in that. Do we want a title for Euphagous? Euphagous the something? Euphagous the dysphoric? Euphagous. How about funky Euphagous? Euphagous Eeyore. And then you find out it's Eeyore. Hey guys. Oh boy. The Dark. Euphagous. The Dark. Here, let's look up. I like Euphagous. Let's find. Okay, so we've got The Dark. The Devourer. The Funky. Just keep throwing that one in. Euphagous don't get it. Jeffrey. The door is right over there. You can leave. I'm just kidding. Love you, Jeffrey. The Swallower? That sounds like kind of wrong. I don't know if I'm gonna... Makes me feel uncomfortable. How about... like, you know, I get the idea of like with this character of like, you feel almost like closed in, or what's it called when why am I blanking on everything? Like when you get scared of small places. Like when you feel like you can't breathe. Why the heck am I blanking on that term? Claustrophobic. Let's find a synonym for that. Yeah, claustrophobia. Thank you, swindler. Cramped, enclosed, limited, airless, narrow, oppressive. The oppressor. Smothering. I like smothering. The smotherer. I don't know if that's quite the... Hey, Lai. Good to see ya. Are there other words that kind of fit that? Nah. All right, I think we're fine with what we got. I'm gonna remove the swallower. I'm gonna remove the smotherer. I'm gonna put a poll in the chat, and you guys can vote which title. The Dark. the devourer, the funky, or the oppressor. All right. And if you are watching on Twitch right now, we'll just do numbers. Oh, that's not numbers. No. Give me numbers. Well, we'll do letters. A, B, C, D. You can vote. A, B, C, D for the Twitch folks. If you're on YouTube, you can vote in the poll that's been posted. Yeah, the Game Chops tunes in the background, excellent. If you're ever looking for lo-fi video game music, it's the way to go. B, so that's a vote for the Devourer. Wow. It's interesting to see how evenly divided a lot of these are. Every vote counts. The Devourer edging out a little bit. We're gonna give it another minute and then we're closing it. Hurry. Supply is limited. Vote now. Five more seconds. All right. Calling it. We're done. The Devourer is the winner. So we have Euphagous, the Devourer. For whatever reason, I want to spell that word wrong every time. This feels a lot like election night viewing, especially the choices. Yeah. Wait, are you saying my choices are bad, Tim? What are you saying? No, just kidding. All right. We sort of know what the antagonist's motivation is. They want to control others and suck their happiness. And good feels, good vibes. At any cost. What's their message? Their message is, you are all peasants and I am the only one that matters. What secret do they hold? Great question. Ooh, combine Greek with Latin. Euphagous, devorer. How would you pronounce that? Play.
Devorare.
Oh. I guess I could pronounce it however I want. Devorare. Devorare. Euphagous devorare. Devorare. I'm gonna keep it how it is. With the Devourer, just to keep it simple. If you are still wanting to come up with NPC names, by the way, I'm still taking suggestions. We've got some here, but feel free to put in your own. Is the Mind Flayer addicted to the taste of happiness, or do they need it for some further purpose? That's their secret. They're addicted to happiness and need it to survive? Do they need it to survive? I don't know. Sorry, I'm just gonna move this over because it was getting pushed to the side of the screen. How's that? There we go. Is that their secret? That they're addicted? And need it to survive? I like that a lot, Jeffrey. Their secret is everything as since their secret is everything, as since everyone is so below them, they aren't worthy of being knowledgeable of him. Might be a bit much. Could be a good starting point. Yeah, I'm just a silly little guy. Yeah, I mean, they definitely have like a superiority complex, I think, to all these other people. Clearly, if they're willing to just like take over their minds. Although, maybe they don't really want to. Maybe they have little mind flare babies they can only feed on happiness. Okay. Maybe they're out of control. Maybe they don't want to do this to other people. Who knows? Maybe they have mind flare babies. Who knows? I'm gonna keep it a secret for now so that perhaps in game it can be revealed. What are their stats? I'm gonna figure that out later. I'll probably just end up using the mind flare stats. Okay, we need an NPC who is, this person won't really be involved with combat, but we need a name for the person who is going to be giving the quest in the first place. So we came up with some NPC names. You can see those here. Sorry, I'm just thinking maybe I'll move the chat a little bit so that it's out of the way. Boom. Boom. Oh no, now it's really big. I don't want that. Here, we'll do this. Okay, good enough. Let's move chat over. Oops. And move the box over as well. Okay. So we have some names already up here, but please feel free to give me some more names. A thalamus pun. Thalamus pun. Is that just their name? Thalamus pun. If they're a message bringer, then they are like, they could be named after a neurotransmitter, right? Somebody who sends a message. Neuron. Spike? Oh yeah, their name is Spike Jones. No, Spike. First name is Spike. We need a last name. Spike. Spike. Message bringer. Spike Reader. Spike Reader isn't bad. Spike Neuronymous. Spike Neuronymous. Neuronymous. I want to get Spike Micah. Perfect. Spike Bike. Mopedine. Spike Mopedine. I like that. Okay, Spike Mopedine it is. So Spike Mopedine is going to be the dude or the person that gives the adventurers, they sort of like give them their initial push, right? Maybe they all wake up together for some reason, and Spike is the one that like pushes them on. Information giver, these can just, so information givers, obstacles, these are people who you might interact with, who can either get in the way or can give you further information that you might need. We can pull from these names. Of course, if you're going to a town like this, maybe you need like a bartender or something like that. If you're going very classic D&D. Trying to think of like other fun names. I'll tell you what. D&D character name generator. Both names. And we actually don't know what race the citizens of this place will be, right? So we'll just start with human. The theme shown. Oh my god. Texta Sinatra. That's kind of funny. Texta Sinatra. Dido. Is there Pippa? Or Borgeling? Briss? Did that say? Oh, Bryce? Josie? These aren't that inspirational to me. Okay, I think it's more fun to use your guys' names anyway. Tell you what, we'll have some names of some of you guys. So we'll do Peter Fogel, Jeffrey, Lindsay, Swindler, Lie, Clouds, Take, Nessido. Let's see. What else we got on here? Bell. Well, if you don't want your name used, then just tell me. I just thought that'd be fun. All right, cool. So we've got a bunch of names now. And as Jeffrey said at the start, with one-shots, you really want to limit how much happens. In particular, the encounters, right? So we know that we'll have a final showdown with the boss. So a boss, obviously, the encounter with the Mind Flayer is going to be sort of the epic conclusion, so to speak. So that is the boss battle, fighting the Mind Flayer. But Jeffrey said, having done one-shot, my biggest thing was to limit it to 3 encounters. 1 social encounter, or combat if it goes poorly. 1 environmental challenge, and 1 actual combat. So I like the way that you phrase that as environmental. Ooh, yeah. /traps. So we need a social situation or a social encounter that could go well or it could go badly. Oh, we've got some more names. Obstacles, neurofibrillary forest, a thick, dark, dense forest of Tuan microtubules riddled with dangers you must navigate through. So that could be part of the environmental issue, right? Is getting through some barrier. And there could be sort of different ways of solving that. In my case, environmental was like, how do you get across this chasm? Yeah, exactly. Right. So it could be like getting through, it could be unlocking a door. It could be, getting across a chasm. It could be, you could even sort of combine a battle / social situation with an environmental one. For example, if you had someone who is like guarding a crypt, right? And you have to solve a riddle. And if you don't solve it, then they're going to try and attack you, that kind of thing. Maybe they have to get into the Mind Flayer's inner chamber. Well, so here's the thing, Jeffrey. The Mind Flayer is going to be going somewhere. The Mind Flayer is going to be going to where the crystal is. So the crystal is it could be a chamber where the crystal is held, maybe, rather than the Mind Flayer's location. As a healthcare provider and D&D player, I love your channel. I just tuned in. What did I miss? Oh man. Well, Michael, we are creating right now a world that I'll be using, hopefully with some other YouTube creators, to run a one-shot mock therapy D&D session. So using D&D as a way of accomplishing certain therapeutic goals, and that can vary from person to person, but just to sort of give an example of what that might look like. And so right now we're developing the story that will end up being used. So we've got some notes that we've been working through. But right now we're trying to figure out our encounters. So I think definitely one of the encounters, maybe this can be the environmental thing, is they have to get into the chamber where the crystal is being held. The question becomes, what is it that stands in the way between the players and the crystal? It could be a mini battle. It could be some sort of, feat that they have to accomplish, like a chasm, like you were saying. Whatever it is, I would like it to be something that might have multiple ways of solving, and something that we can add a time pressure to. I don't think that'll be too hard to add a time pressure. If they have to cross a chasm, then maybe there's something chasing them, right? Or if they have to, solve some puzzle, if they get it wrong or if they don't solve it fast enough, then it blows up, that kind of thing. But it should be something kind of fun. I'm glad you like this, Curtis. Just don't have swamps of despair traps that your horse sinks into. Oh my gosh. That moment in that movie is so sad. It is traumatic to suddenly have this horse that did absolutely nothing wrong just totally sink into the abyss. What's that horse's name again? Riyadh? No, what was that horse's name? Man, that was so sad. Neverending Story actually freaked me out as a kid, and not even necessarily because of the horse, but because of the dragon dog dude. I thought he was pretty creepy. Artax. Thank you, Allie. Yeah. So, all right. So you agree, Curtis? Puzzles with multiple solutions. Yeah, it should be something that we, could be solved in multiple ways. Atreyu was the boy or the horse? Atreyu was the boy. Yeah. Atreyu was the boy. Artax was the horse. Artax, no! Artax apparently was falling into depression because that's how the swamp works, right? Isn't that you get absorbed into the swamp if you lose hope or happiness. So is the implication that the horse was losing hope? That's pretty dark. Artax, you have to fight it. Yeah, I don't know how that was a children's movie. There's a few things that are kind of questionable about that movie. Where it's like, wow, different time. The monster design is just so creepy in that movie. Every monster, good or bad, is horrifying. Agreed. Because it's a German story? I didn't realize that. Huh. Interesting. REM's Sleep Reapers. Ghouls that can haunt you if you fall asleep. The Mind Flayer can keep people awake. Sleep Reapers. Okay, so this is interesting. I like how we're kind of surrounding the sleep idea and building out some concepts related to that. Maybe the Sleep Reapers can be agents of the Mind Flayer. I don't think, this is all going to happen very fast. I don't anticipate that the players will have enough time to sleep. I'm hoping that since it's a one-shot, it's all going to happen in the same day, essentially. And so if they're not going to get a long rest, I don't think. They would get, at most, a short rest, but they wouldn't be sleeping. Yeah, a German novel from the 70s. It's basically a modern-day Grimm fairy tale. Huh. Yeah, Grimm fairy tales are messed up. Interesting. Michael Ende was German. Who's Michael Ende? Not familiar with Michael Ende. So Sleep Reapers. Let's put that under kind of a battle. Sleep Reaper. That could be that could actually be part of the very beginning. They get attacked by Sleep Reapers. And that ends up propelling them into fighting the Mind Flayer. But what we really need is just this environmental factor. Michael Ende is the author of the original Neverending Story novel. I like the name Sleep Reaper as well. It's really good. Sleep Reapers. So they're not going to be the social situation. They could be involved with the environmental factor. All we need is just the thing that's going to get in the way. I could just pick something, but I like getting ideas from you guys. If there's something that you think would be something that would be a nice barrier. Essentially, they're trying to get. So what's the dream about? Beginning going to be about. The dream at the beginning of the one shot will be the player characters. Essentially, it'll be less of a dream and more of a telepathy kind of thing, where it'll have dream elements where the player characters will be able to visualize or see what the Mind Flayer is planning, right? But they'll also know that it hasn't happened yet. So they'll see that the Mind Flayer, so that maybe it won't involve seeing the Mind Flayer getting the crystal, but rather they'll wake up knowing that the Mind Flayer is going to try to go get the crystal to keep everyone awake. So the player characters are trying to get to the crystal first to prevent the Mind Flayer from doing that. Or they're people the Mind Flayer is fully taken over, incapable of sleeping. I like the idea of Sleep Reapers perhaps being these minions of the Mind Flayer who are evil in and of themselves. Because it would be kind of weird, right, if you had to suddenly battle people from your town. I don't know. That would be a little bit odd, right? But if the Sleep Reapers are minions of the Mind Flayer, and then they are being like, maybe they're super powerful in the dream state because they, I don't know, can wreak havoc or something, but they're less powerful in the real world somehow. But they're still a pain, you know, they're still coming to get you. The blood-brain barrier, giant red river that the party must cross. In that case, things that the PCs might try to do: tell everyone and find allies, get out of town, do things to save the people themselves, maybe find and destroy the crystal, find and destroy the Mind Flayer itself, leaving the crystal alone. Yes, all of those are possibilities. I think the quest giver, Spike Mobadine, would probably just tell the PCs, stop the Mind Flayer from getting the crystal. And that would be the impetus. So there could be a lot of ways to do that, either by, you know, stealing the crystal first, right? Or by killing the Mind Flayer, something along those lines. Blah, 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 blah. The environmental barrier is that they are in a familiar space, but are sleepwalking, and it appears different. For example, they're in their own homes, but see a haunted house. Okay, now you're getting, Curtis, you are getting into like Stranger Things territory. I feel like the new season. I was thinking about that as I was going through this. I'm like, oh, this is kind of reminiscent of that a little bit. It's funny. It's funny how there's echoes. I want them to be awake. They're going to be awake. I guess they could. Oh, this is sort of Stranger Things like as well. I was going to say they could need to fall asleep in order to get the crystal. And then, but in the sleep state, they're vulnerable. And also, there's the potential of being overtaken by the Mind Flayer. Or wait, no. The sleep helps prevent them from being taken over. So that wouldn't actually work. Yeah, I think they gotta be awake. If their goal is to stop the Mind Flayer from getting the crystal, their first task would have to involve learning about the location and state of both the crystal and the Mind Flayer. Absolutely. I think that's where Spike Mobadine might come in handy to give a little bit of information, or this other NPC information giver who we have not identified yet. We don't have a name for that person. Let's look at the names. There's a lot of good names on here. Let's say it's Vivian. Actually, I kind of like the name Snowda. All right, Snowda Tun is going to be the information giver. Gives info about where the Mind Flayer is and where the crystal is located. Why would Snowda Tun? You've never played this game. What's it about? Okay, we'll take a quick respite. So Lori, the game is Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Essentially, it's collaborative storytelling where you have one person who is leading the game. That would be me in this situation, as the dungeon master, and I would be describing the details of the environment, helping, set up the story. And then playing with me would be several other, what we call player characters, other people who would be sitting around the table with me. And they each play one character, right? Their character. And their characters end up being sort of the main characters of the story who are trying to navigate this world that's being set up for them. So that's essentially the basics of it. And there's often battle and quests and difficulties and all that stuff. So that's the basics. So Snowda Ton is going to be giving information. Something would have to be kind of special about Snowda Ton, I feel like, for her to know information about the Mind Flayer and to know about the crystal. Maybe Snowda is like a figurehead of some sort in the town, or maybe Snowda is some sort of a mystic, someone who has, maybe Snowda is a wizard, right? There's got to be something about Snowda, but Snowda's not going to go on the journey with them. Snowda was conscripted as an assistant to the Mind Flayer and has seen the crystal. But so why would Snowda have seen the crystal? Why would Snowda have seen the crystal? The Mind Flayer didn't take it. I like the idea that Snowda was a conscripted person. She was mind controlled, right? She was mind controlled. I don't think she would have seen the crystal, but I think actually seen the plans to get the crystal. Yes, I think that's a good idea, Ghost. So Snowda has she was a conscripted assistant to the Mind Flayer. Mind controlled? Who knows? Maybe that's her secret. Maybe she wasn't mind controlled. And knows where the Mind Flayer is / was, and has seen the plans, or the plans or map for the crystal. Mind Flayer has not gotten the crystal yet. It's a race against time, so to speak. So maybe two people, one who is conscripted and another who's seen the crystal. I think we can minimize it. I think we could say that what we can say is, okay. Snowda was actually, I think Snowda has to be kind of an important person in the town. Yeah, right, Jeffrey. I think you're on the money there. So maybe Snowda was a psychic or a seer, right? Let's say she's a seer. So Snowda is a seer who is renowned for her visions and premonitions. She, the Mind Flayer controlled her mind, and that's questionable, and obtained information regarding where the crystal lies. So she knew somehow, she divined it. let's say that the Mind Flayer kidnapped her and controlled her mind. Because if she was kidnapped, then that means that she was taken to where the Mind Flayer was. Somehow she escaped, and now is sharing this information. Like it? Yeah? Is that good? Okay. Excellent. Okay. So the environmental piece is still something that we have gotten stuck on. The thing that stands in the way of the players and the crystal. We've had some ideas. We've had a river that they have to cross. We've talked about a chasm. We've talked about a keeper, so to speak. What's preventing the Mind Flayer from getting the crystal right away? So this all happens very quickly. I think the Mind Flayer probably tried to capture the seer, Snowda, upon realizing that he was losing his grip, his mental grip on people when they fell asleep. And so he used her power to find out where the crystal was, and this just happened. So actually it could be that the Mind Flayer is leaving from the same location essentially as the player characters, or close by. You know, the Mind Flayer uses this person, gets the information, immediately goes. Now they're free again and can now tell the player characters what's going on. Labyrinth? A labyrinth. Labyrinth could be interesting. Labyrinth would be a lot, I think. Dungeons are too long unless they know the way, but not the traps/puzzles. So you're saying that would be the environmental impediment? Maybe it's difficult for Mind Flayer because getting the crystal is something that specifically requires teamwork. Oh, I love it. I love it. So the environmental thing has to be something that involves teamwork. For example, you know, it could be kind of like those scenes that you see in movies where two people have to put the key in at the same time and turn it, that sort of thing. Multiple magical devices need to be opened or occupied at the same time. Yep, I love that. I love that. But he has thralls, so it can't be something he can easily command them to physically do. Right. I think so. Here's an element. Maybe it has to be that that there's a spoken element. Oh, I think I know. I think in order to access the inner chasm, there have to be, at, let's say, it would depend on how many players we would have, 3 or 4 spots where people have to stand on some, let's say like a spring-loaded stone or something along those lines. You have to stand on all of the spring-loaded stones, and each person has to this is how we can kind of incorporate like a therapy component. Each person has to reveal something vulnerable, some embarrassing thing that's happened to them, or some a time when they have experienced true emotion, or something along those lines, right? Which could open up the opportunity to get a little bit of insight into the mind flayer too, right? If the mind flayer has to do that. I missed. I can't believe it. Yeah, I think that's kind of fun. I like this idea. Okay, so there are spring-loaded stones that require a person on each one, and each person has to say something revealing / vulnerable / emotional, right? Something along those lines. And maybe it's coded a bit. You know, you have to, maybe there's a bit of a riddle, so you don't know necessarily right away that that's what you have to do. The thing is, you would need someone there perhaps who could give some advice or suggestions, and you would also need something that would push them forward to do it fast. And if they don't do it the right way, then there needs to be another way. So, time pressure. They're being followed by sleep reapers. Easy. Alternatives. Alternatives to this. I'm realizing that this trap or environmental thing is not too dissimilar from in Avengers Endgame, where you have to make a true sacrifice or something along those lines. Sacrifice what you love most. I don't know. That's fine. I don't care that it's similar, but just kind of interesting. If they don't do this, they can always, blow it up. Use brute force. Try that. But if they use brute force, then that opens it up permanently, right? So there'd be some punishment for that. They could try to unlock it with tools in some way, but I think it would have a similar outcome. They could try to obviously they could just sort of see if anyone is in there, right? They could try to figure out if the crystal has been taken or not. Something like that. Extreme personality trait, for example, paranoid, embarrassed, hated authority, etc. And the orbs were only able to be moved once each person has touched the orb and been able to act out their trait. And the group was able to guess it correctly. Once the group guessed correctly, they were able to move the orb into the hole. Maybe this could be related to the characters themselves. I hear ya. So it's almost like a sorry, I missed your first message. When the player touched the orb, they developed some sort of extreme personality trait. They were able to be moved once each person had touched an orb and been able to act out their trait. The group was able to guess it correctly. Orb into the hole. That's interesting. That'd be kind of fascinating. like forcing emotion into the situation almost, or certain actions. I can see that. I can see that working as well. Like looking for emotional expression almost. And then it also kind of becomes like charades, because then other people have to guess what emotion you have. I'll think through this a little bit. I do like the teamwork idea because it sort of thwarts the mind flare a little bit, we think. But opens up opportunities for the mind flare as well. Ooh, just thinking, what if, wow, didn't quite solve the issue. Okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself about how to structure this. I'll come up with some other alternatives. I might even play around with this environmental factor a little bit. Make it something that would be fun for the players, something that they could really enjoy. Oh, you know what it could be? Essentially, we could play a game of like 2 truths and a lie within the game. But, rather than it being 2 truths and a lie about something related to the character, it could be about the players themselves. And we could put some rules around what kinds of truths we're looking for. The truth has to be something that has some like emotional component to it. It could be easy to add backstory to and lead to more role play. It's true. Yeah, good point. So maybe with 2 truths and a lie, the thing that they're saying is a truth has to be true to both the character and to the player. Okay, I'll play around with this a little bit. It's not a bad thought. Because then it's fun for the people playing it. They get kind of an opportunity to share about themselves. The mind flayer wouldn't really be able to do that unless he has someone who he can speak with. And I guess we can presume that the mind flayer doesn't have friends, and he can't compel people to reveal something vulnerable, or that's perhaps a supposition that we can make. This whole thing sounds like a ploy by the mind flayer to get the adventuring party to use their unique human traits to unlock the crystal, so that the mind flayer can sweep in and take it. Interesting. Who knows? I like that, Jeffrey. Okay, let's back up. We need a social situation. This social situation, I'm thinking it won't necessarily be something having to do with the other 2 NPCs that we've discussed already. So I don't think it'll have to do with Spike Mopadine or Snowdatun. Instead, it should be some other social interaction. And by social, we're not necessarily talking about, like they just decide to go to the tavern and hang out for a little bit because they're going to be in a rush. But it's something that someone who they encounter on their way. And this can be somebody who maybe they're not sure if they're good or bad, right? If they're on their side or not, if they can trust them or not. That might be a kind of interesting component to this. you know, since this is D&D, we could literally have them just like meet a dragon, you know? People always love dragons. And why not, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts about like a social, ambiguous social situation? Maybe the party needs another reason to take the crystal themselves. Right. That's a good idea. I mean, obviously there's a security component. Maybe they would also want to take the crystal because they could use the crystal to wake up everybody in the town. And it could also, like, while it can be used as a way to keep people awake, it can also be used to disrupt the mind flayer's mind control. So that might be the driving force, Jeffrey. I like that. Also, the crystal can be used to disrupt a mind flayer's mind control. A crazed sounding individual who really wants to help the party but comes across as really off-putting. Make the town's god or idol a dragon. Boom, easy. Showing quirks of people like traits. Showing quirk. What do you mean by that, Julius? The town's god or idol could be a dragon. Then what would their interaction, like what would be the social encounter be with that idol? Oh, you're just saying just to be able to fit a dragon in. I see. Crazy, I like that idea, Jeffrey. A crazy sounding individual who wants to help the party comes across as really off-putting. What would be their connection? Why would they know about this person? Ooh, you know what it could be? It could be essentially an Eeyore character. So it's someone who maybe they're not crazed, but rather they're really boring. And part of the concern is this person being mind controlled or not? You know? And so that becomes the concern. Is this person trying to infiltrate the group or throw them off? Or are they a genuine assistant, so to speak? And maybe it's, okay, let's just add this as an idea. The group encounters an Eeyore character who may be mind controlled. But they've always been boring. Are they trying to help or hurt? Like greedy, drunk, sleepyhead, hothead. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Are you saying that for the environmental trap, or are you saying for a social situation? The social situation just needs to be one person who they kind of encounter where there's some confusion, but like potential benefit, potential downside. That's the way that I see it. So I like the idea that this person is maybe somebody who they're familiar with, and they could be like, maybe they're normally kind of a boring person, and so it's hard to know, like boring and also maybe dysthymic, right? They're not not an emotional person normally. So now the question is like, what's going on here? So maybe the people in the town aren't completely zombies, but they speak in a particular manner. That'd be interesting. All right, I like that idea. Now the question is, what potential benefit could this character provide? Like, what's their motivation? And also, like, how could things go wrong? I think how things could go wrong is they could get into an encounter, right? They could fight. Potential benefit is that they could obtain valuable information. What do you think? That sound good? Okay, I like that. I like this ambiguous character. I think that opens up a lot of possibilities and things that can also change on the spot. Excellent. This is all we need. I think we've essentially got our story set out for us. So just to quickly summarize, the setup is our adventurers experience a shared vision where they find themselves in a dream, but it's actually not a dream. They find themselves in the thoughts and mind of an evil mind flayer. The mind flayer is named Euphagous the Devourer. They find themselves in the mind of Euphagous the Devourer. And Euphagous, they through this telepathic connection, they find out that Euphagous is angry and frustrated because he has been slowly losing control of the minds of the citizens of Serotonia. You see, for the last week, he's been controlling everyone and sucking their happiness, which has given him some remnant of satisfaction himself. It's kind of unclear why he's doing this. But through his mind control abilities, he has been, occupying their minds. However, when people fall asleep, they end up dropping out of his control. And as such, Euphagous is becoming weaker and weaker and realizes that he needs to find another way to control the minds of these townspeople. And so the players see his plan. Perhaps the players see Euphagous conjuring information from someone who you know in the town, the local seer, and he finds out about the Crystal of Clangor and where its location lies. And the Crystal of Clangor is meant to keep the citizens of Serotonia awake forever until they die, because you need sleep. And the crystal will amplify his power as well. And so the PCs wake up. They, for one reason or another, end up all being in the same place. I'll have to figure out that piece. And they immediately meet Spike Mopadine, who's also with them. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Oh my gosh. Jazaka, if I'm pronouncing that right. They immediately meet Spike Mobadine, who sets them on their quest. Spike had the same dream and realized that this was no random dream, but rather a revelation that they needed to go and stop the Mind Flayer. So they, they start to leave, they're trying to figure out how to get to where they need to go to. They find one way or another, they encounter Snowda Tun, the seer who had been captured, where they gain information about where the crystal is located and where, how far behind they are from the Mind Flayer. And then they begin their quest. On their quest, they have several encounters. They encounter an Eeyore character. We need a name for this Eeyore character, I realized. We didn't come up with a name. So we have some names up here, but is there a very boring name that we can give this character? I can pronounce it however good. Is there a very boring name we can give this Eeyore character? Something like Ted. Rob Rockley. Rockley is too interesting, I think. Ted, or what's another boring? Igor. Igor seems kind of interesting to me. How about here? Tell you what. Let's look up some. What are we thinking of a name for? We're thinking of a name for welcome, by the way. We're thinking of a name for an NPC, a character who is kind of a boring person, and someone who is not has practically no emotions, who's kind of an Eeyore type character. So we're trying to come up with a boring name. Think of boring names like Henry Jones, Ted Blunt. I like Ted Blunt. Ted Blunt. Henry Jones. Henry Jones sounds like an adventurer. Luke Jones? You're on the Jones train. Luke also I find an interesting name. Maybe like Flat Affect. I want the name to be an actual name. Flat Norm. Norm is a good one. Norm No Feel. Norm No Feel. Norm Flatter. Norm Flat. Lorenz Norm. What if we flip that around? Norm Lorenz. Ted Blunt is good. Norm Blunt. Ted Normanus Blunt. Lorem Ipsum. I really like that, actually. I also really like Norm. Lorem Ipsum. I like Lorem Ipsum a lot, too. Because it's just like fill in the blanks here. I don't know. this is the text that you're supposed to delete. Pat McDonald. Pat McDonald. I want to apologize to Pat McDonald in the chat right now. Your name isn't that boring. Okay, my tops are lorem ipsum and norm something. I also really like Ted Blunt, not gonna lie. No feel is funny. Norm ipsum, Ted Blunt, Noel Norm. Say dull emotions like Eeyore, but did Eeyore not at least feel chronically depressed, or are we talking more robotic emotion? Yeah. That's a good point. He was chronically depressed. I guess what I mean is dysphoric. So yeah, like kind of, I guess like robotic is a good way of putting it. Robotic, lacking in emotion. So not necessarily too negative either. Just sort of like a blank slate. Guy Norm. That's pretty good. Guy Norm. I like that a lot. You guys are good at coming up with the names. Okay, let's group these together. I'm gonna do a vote here. We've got our 3 top contenders. I'm gonna do a poll, all right? Which name for the emotionless character? Guy Norm, Ted Blunt, or lorem ipsum? All right, you can vote now in that poll. It just opened. And if you are in Twitch chat, I apologize that you don't have access to the poll, but I'll tell you what, we'll just do 1, 2, 3. So Guy is 1, Ted is 2, lorem ipsum is 3. There's a lot of good ones. I don't think we can go wrong. Jeffrey, it looks like lorem ipsum is it's just too smart. It's just not getting as many votes. Okay, I'll bring out the IKEA names. Flynn Fjorsa Fuga. I don't know how to pronounce that. Love IKEA. Love going there. Okay, I'll give you just a few more seconds. It was only a placeholder anyway. I'm gonna hold on to these. All of these names are gonna be, in the rotation in case I need a name. But we'll give you 10 more seconds to vote. If you're watching on YouTube, enter that now. It will be closing shortly. Oh, Ted Blunt is pulling away. Getting a lot of love. Okay, we're gonna close it. Ted Blunt is the winner. Congratulations. Who came up with Ted Blunt? Curtis. Hey, if you don't know Curtis, by the way, Curtis Baute, go check out his channel. Amazing stuff. He does a lot of really great videos, a lot of stuff on climate change, on environmental topics. Really compelling videos. So definitely check out Curtis. I'm going to pull up his channel so you can see. Yep. There he is. Look at that. That's Curtis. Go check out his videos. They're really great. Curtis, would you be interested in playing this game? I guess you kind of like know the story already, which sort of takes away from the surprise of it. All right, Curtis, forget everything that you just heard. But no, we'll figure it out. Let's talk. So we got Ted Blunt is our Eeyore character, so that'll be one of the obstacles, so to speak. And then they will head straight for... Yeah, Ted Blunt is a huge pothead. And so you don't know if he's stoned or mind-controlled. Maybe that's what's going on. He's also really depressed. So, yeah, then the rest of the story will be the player characters trying to get to the crystal. It won't be that far away. I think it'll be kind of well known that it's somewhere within the mountain or something like that. They'll get there, they'll face their environmental obstacle. There will be battles. Of course, the big final battle at the end. And who knows how it'll conclude. Maybe they'll all die. And the Mind Flayer will be successful. So, it's all up for grabs. Cool. Well, I sort of neglected World Anvil and sort of filling out this stuff, but this has been hugely helpful in terms of like helping me flesh out the world and knowing what that's going to look like. So now I feel like this is going to be easy peasy to just sort of write in what my world is about and all the other information. I can start creating a wiki, start like designing everything. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Ted Blunt is actually a deep well of emotion, and he's one negative experience away from that well overflowing. Yeah. Ted Blunt has just been holding it in. You know, he's packed it down so tight. It's just waiting to explode. I mean, that could be part of his arc. You never know. But anyway, I really appreciate all of your help. I think we're gonna stop things here. This is gonna be super helpful for fleshing out the world and the story. I can start actually writing the one shot and coming up with stat blocks and all of that stuff. And then next step is gonna be, I think, finding people to play with, which will be really fun. We'll sort of see who I can attract to this. But yeah, I think we'll end here. I'll be streaming again next week. I'm sort of planning on streaming every Friday going forward for about, for a couple hours, because I really like doing this and find it useful. I'm also, if you're interested, on my, that's not a bad idea, Jeffrey, to do a playtest. Maybe I'll consider that. On our Patreon, our Neurotransmissions Patreon, it has not been very active. We're not very good about posting regularly on there, but we really appreciate the people who support us there. But I'm hoping to do some additional live streams on there, because I'm working on a super secret project that I can't quite make public yet. So if that's something you're interested in, you can head over there. I'll probably start posting about that kind of stuff in the new year. We'll see. But yeah, I can't say more, but it's something that will become public eventually and will be part of these live streams as well. So anyway, that's that. I really appreciate y'all for joining me. It's been just a blast. I always have fun with you guys. But let's pick back up next week. And until then, take it easy. Have a nice weekend. Bye.